Well, folks, welcome back to the LinkedIn Live. I am so excited to introduce you to someone today. Now, if you don't know Andrew, you're going to want to put him in your network when we're done with this. But Andrew is here. We're going to talk about sustainability in sync, aligning short-term action with long-term value. And so, Andrew, we're going to talk, at least what I hope we're going to do, is discover how supply chain and procurement leaders are embedding sustainability into everyday decision making, delivering performance today while building stability and competitive advantage for tomorrow. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Okay, so besides Andrew Bosley, MBA, Senior Manager at ProcureAbility, what should people know about you? Tell me some of the interesting facts about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Don. So as a senior manager at ProcureAbility, I currently manage one of our operational portfolios focused on growth within the utility operations space. But I haven't always been in the utility operations space. So over the past 7 years, I've had a pretty diverse background across a number of industries within supply chain, strategic procurement, business services, consulting, and utilities. Prior to my time with ProcureAbility, I actually worked in the behavioral healthcare space as a strategic sourcing manager. And prior to that, I worked in chemical manufacturing. So I've really built my experience and career around the intersection of sourcing, operations, finance, and corporate strategy, and really focus on helping my clients balance ambitious business objectives with the practical constraints that they're facing today. Over the last 3 years, I've had some great experience within ProcureAbility, and really excited to share some of that here with you today.
Well, good. I'm excited. We always love when we get people from ProcureAbility because they have such a vast background. So if we're going to talk about sustainability and risk management, they have been viewed, a long time been viewed as separate timelines. We talk about sustainability, we talk about risk, but they don't intersect. But leading organizations know that they are deeply connected. So can you share about how you see it in the marketplace for how companies are balancing both long-term sustainability with short-term risk?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a question that really comes up in most of our executive conversations that we're having right now. And that's because the volatility within the marketplace and the supply chain has really made trade-offs within businesses feel unavoidable. What we're finding is really interesting is that the companies that are navigating supply chain and market disruption the best aren't choosing between sustainability and risk. They're actively using one to manage the other. And from our perspective, there's kind of three major shifts happening in the market around sustainability and risk mitigation. So I'll kind of walk through those. The first would be that sustainability is really being reframed as operational resilience. So what we're seeing is that leading companies aren't treating sustainability as an aspirational future state. They're using it on a day-to-day basis to stabilize operations, whether that be climate exposure, labor practices, energy efficiency, supplier transparency. They're all being evaluated through a lens of, will this supplier, asset, or category hold up under supply chain disruption? And when firms are asking that question, that is actually changing how decisions get made every single day. The second lever that we're seeing is a shift from low price. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I like the reframing of sustainability to be operational resiliency, because it seems like sustainability got caught up in the ESG and isn't looked at as fondly by some folks in today's administration. So by saying operational resiliency, nobody's going to argue with that as a corporate necessary. So I love that reframing. So I'm going to steal that shamelessly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk options here, but it really is kind of aligning those timelines between, what a future looking ESG goal might be and an operational constraint happening today.
Yeah.
So it's really a positive change when we're talking about sustainability. So the second one here, we're seeing low price decisions being replaced with total cost ownership. That's not a new trend. That's something that we've seen, over the last few years, maybe even close to a decade. But when we talk about sustainability, we're seeing that sustainability stops competing with short-term goals and starts to reinforce them when we partner with our contractors in that total cost of ownership model. And then the third major shift that we're seeing is that supplier relationships are becoming less and less transactional and becoming more of a risk-sharing partnership. So rather than every year doing a compliance-driven audit on your contractors or suppliers, right, we're seeing companies co-invest with their suppliers on better processes, better materials, and data transparency. And all of these things reduce surprises, ensure faster issue detection, and stronger continuity when those disruption hits. So really, when sustainability and risk mitigation do end up being merged, companies are able to move faster through volatility, protect their margins, and build supply chains that really break or bend instead of break, excuse me.
Yeah, so can you tell me then, why does it feel like sustainability and risk mitigation are often on separate paths? Are there reasons that disconnect still persists today? Is it just in the wording sustainability versus operational resiliency? Can you help me there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the wording around it definitely contributes to the disconnect. I think the separation caused by our leaders not understanding the connection between sustainability and risk mitigation. It's really more about the systems in place and that they weren't designed to work together. So a couple of examples, there are different time horizons for sustainability and risk mitigation that create an artificial tension between the two groups. Risk teams are often measured quarterly, for instance, and sustainability teams are measured over years. That's a pretty big difference in the level of follow-up. And so this gap makes sustainability feel optional during a time of crisis, even though those crises are exposing our sustainability weaknesses in real time. So that time horizon causes a little bit of that disconnect right away. The second would be that our risk teams rely on really hard defensible data. We're looking at third-party contractor risk rankings. We're looking at some of the other really defined metrics that we have around our contractors, where our sustainability programs often are built on self-reported or unverifiable supplier inputs. And that gives sustainability teams a little bit of struggle when they try to influence real decisions. And so until we see that sustainability data meeting the same rigor as our risk mitigation data, the two are definitely going to stay kind of siloed.
That makes sense.
And then the third would be a fragmentation of ownership. So sustainability often sits outside of our core operating model, while our risk mitigation teams live within operations or finance. And so without a shared owner, and that shared owner is often procurement, and we're going to get to that in a minute, companies will run parallel programs instead of one integrated agenda. To sum that up, the separation isn't philosophical, it's structural. And when those timelines, data standards, and ownership align, sustainability is naturally going to become a risk control mechanism.
So do you have any recommendations then on what levers organizations can pull to get better alignment of both these agendas?
Yeah, for sure. So alignment doesn't happen through vision statements. They're great, but it really happens through execution. And so the organizations that we're seeing making progress are really pulling specific levers to increase their alignment. And the first, and I think this is probably the most important of the couple we're going to cover today, is embedding sustainability in category and sourcing decisions. So when our ESG criteria are built into category strategies, into our supplier selection, contract structures, and performance metrics, sustainability actually becomes inseparable from operational risk management. We're also seeing a trend of increased multi-tier supplier transparency. So looking at tiers 2 and 3 and getting visibility into those compliance risk, reputational exposure, and supply disruptions. And third, we are seeing a little bit of a shift in that long-term view for sustainability and actually seeing companies pull that forward in terms of short-term pilots. So looking at a targeted pilot in waste reduction, circular sourcing, or energy efficiency can really create quick financial wins while reducing our operation. And the proof of these pilots helps to build credibility and accelerate adoption within our ESG programs.
I like that. So is ESG?
So I would kind of summarize that by saying that it. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think we have a little time lag with this. I was just going to say, is ESG considered a bad word, or people are still using it in corporate America today?
I think you're going to see it still be used, right? A lot of our ESG goals are tied to maybe a 2030 timeline, right? Those are out there. Those are written. I think what we're going to see is our operational teams working to operationalize those goals is really where we're going to see that shift into the resiliency model.
Good. So what role does procurement and supplier strategy play in this alignment? Can you give us some examples on how to bring that together?
Yeah, definitely. So if we're going to merge sustainability and risk mitigation, procurement is the place where that convergence is going to happen.
So I know we're running up on time anyways, but I really would like you, I was going to ask, what I did is asked you if you could summarize the conversation today and part of it that we didn't get to, and I was going to ask you to record it and add it to this LinkedIn Live, but now that you're back, can you answer it yourself?
Absolutely. And again, so sorry for that. So I would say that the concept here is that sustainability and risk mitigation look different for every company. Some have really lofty ESG goals, while others are struggling to maintain day-to-day operational efficiency. So utilizing risk mitigation methodologies to support and inform your sustainability goals is really the best way to integrate the two practices. Incorporating procurement as a seat at the table in the risk mitigation discussion can ensure that suppliers chosen align not only with our short-term goal of mitigating operational and financial risk, but also support the longer-term sustainability goals. There's not a perfect formula, and every company has their own risk tolerances and goals for the future. However, the key here is really supporting our leaders with better ESG data, better visibility into the short-term risk management and planning process, and this will inherently lead to a more integrated and sustainable future.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Folks, I'm going to share Andrew's contact information. He is somebody that you definitely should know. We got to chat before today's LinkedIn Live, and he's a fascinating young gentleman with a lot of great experience and passion for the subject. So make sure you make Andrew part of your network. And with that, Andrew, thank you for joining us on LinkedIn Live, and hopefully I'll see you in person again very soon. Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Dawn.
Thank you, everybody. Like I said before, happy evening, good morning, wherever you may be. And I hope that everyone stays safe and happy and watches us again on LinkedIn Live or webinar or podcast or in person. We'll be all over the country in North America, and we'll be in India in 2 weeks as well. So hopefully we'll see everyone very soon. Take care.
Great. Thanks.